Hello, my dear students. Myself, CMA Padmaja Budruk. Topic for discussion is Consignment Accounting, Financial Accounting, Paper 5. Go to study note number 2, Accounting for Special Transactions. There you will find Consignment Accounting. We'll see what are you supposed to study in Consignment Accounting. For expansion of business, goods are sent to agent's place for sale. Agents get commission on sale of goods. Ownership of goods remains with principal until these goods are sold. The principal is called consignor and the agent is called consignee. The relationship between consignor and consignee is that of principal and agent relationship. Consignor, he is the person who sends goods to agent. For example, a manufacturer or wholesaler, that is consignor is either manufacturer or wholesaler. Consignee, he is the agent to whom the goods are sent for selling. Sending goods to agent is known as consignment. Accounts relating to consignment is known as consignment account. So in short, what we have seen in this introduction, there are two parties, consignor and consignee. Consignor is principal, he is manufacturer, he is wholesaler, whereas consignee is his agent. Consignor sends goods to consignee and consignee is supposed to sell these goods. Consignor only sends goods to consignee. He doesn't sell goods to consignee. He just sends goods to consignee. Consignee receives the goods and he sells it to the final consumer. Now for the purpose of this sale, this he gets commission on the sale of the goods. He acts as an agent. So consignee is agent and consignor is principal. It is not always possible for the manufacturer, wholesaler or principal to sell the goods. It is not possible to sell the goods in the country or outside the country. They might not have so many branches, so many sales outlets, etc. So if they appoint some agents, it is easier for them to expand their business. For this purpose, the consignor appoint agents for selling their goods. So two parties, consignor, consignee. Consignor send goods to consignee and consignee sells these goods, and for after selling the goods he gets commission. It will be as per the agreement agreed upon by consignor and consignee. Now consignee gets commission. We'll see what type of commission he gets. Three types of commission: normal or ordinary commission, overriding commission, and del creditor commission. First, we'll see what is the meaning of ordinary or normal commission. This is a fee payable by consignor to consignee for sale of goods when the consignee does not guarantee the collection of money from ultimate customer. The percentage of such commission is generally lower. Normal commission, ordinary commission, consignor pays to consignee. Percentage of commission is generally low. But in this case, the consignee does not guarantee collection of money from ultimate customer. Consignee sells the goods on cash basis as well as on the credit basis. If he sells the goods on credit basis, he cannot guarantee the collection from ultimate customer, that is from the debtor. If he gets normal commission, ordinary commission, overriding commission. Overriding commission is an extra commission allowed over and above normal commission. So normal commission consignor will pay to consignee. In addition to that, he will get extra commission, and that is known as overriding commission. For giving this overriding commission, various reasons are there. We'll see these reasons. When the agent is required to put in hard work in introducing a new product in the market. If there is new product in the market, agent has to take extra efforts. Where he is entrusted with the work of supervising the performance of other agents in a particular area. So sometimes this agent, he can have sub agents, He is supposed to supervise their work, and for this reason, he can get overriding commission for effecting sales at higher prices than price fixed by the consignor. Now, supposing if consignee sells the goods at a price which is higher than the price fixed by consignor, in that case, he can get extra commission over and above normal commission, which is overriding commission. Del creditor commission. This is the additional commission payable to the consignee for taking over additional responsibility of collecting money from customers. Again, this is additional commission. In case the customer do not pay, the consignee takes over the loss of bad debts in his books. Now this Dale creditor commission is given by consignor to consignee to take care of customers. Collection from customers' accounts. If bad debts arises if customer do not pay, then in that case it is the loss of consignee and not loss of consignor. Although it is paid for taking over risk of bad debts that arise out of credit sales only, this commission is calculated on total sales and not on credit sales. Del creditor commission is given by consignor to consignee for taking the responsibility of credit sales. Even if it is given for taking the responsibility of credit sales, commission is calculated on total sales and commission is not calculated on only credit sales. Del creditor commission and bad debts. This we'll see. Sometimes the consignor allows an extra commission to consignee in order to cover the risk of collection from customer on account of credit sales, which is known as del creditor commission. Naturally, if debt is found to be irrecoverable, the same must be borne by consignee. There will be no effect in the books of consignor. Credit sales will be treated as cash sales to consignor if he allows del creditor commission to the consignee. If del creditor commission is not given by consignor to consignee, then the amount of bad debts must be borne by consignor. Consignor gives del creditor commission to consignee and the reason for giving this commission is consignee will take the responsibility of credit sales. If there are bad debts, then that is the loss of consignee and not consignor. Consignor will consider credit sales as cash sales only because the responsibility of collection is consignee's as he is getting del creditor commission, that is additional commission for taking the responsibility of credit sales. Pro forma invoice. Pro forma invoice is when consignor sends goods to consignee. He sends the goods along with a statement giving details of the goods sent, and that statement is known as pro forma invoice. As it is not actual sale, you cannot call it as invoice, and that is the reason why you are supposed to call it as pro forma invoice. It is just like invoice, but it is not really invoice. Why? Because there is no sale of goods. It is just goods get transferred from consignor's place to consignee's place. Goods are sent either at cost price or invoice price. Invoice price is more than cost price. The objective of pro forma invoice is only to convey information to the consignee regarding quantity of goods sent, variety, what are the different types of goods sent, prices of goods sent, expenses incurred for sending the goods, and not to make him liable like a trade debtor. Now, in case of normal invoice, it makes the customer, it makes the purchaser liable as a trade debtor, but as this is pro forma invoice, he is just sending the goods. It does not make him liable like a debtor. Now, account sale is prepared by consignee, prepared by agent. Agent prepares this, consignee prepares account sale. This is periodical statement prepared by consignee to be sent to the consignor. He prepares it and sends it to consignor. This statement gives details of all sales, cash sales as well as credit sales made by consignee, expenses incurred of course by consignee, commission due for sales, goods destroyed in transit or goods destroyed in godown, amount of advance remitted by him, goods unsold by consignee. Goods unsold by consignee are to be shown as closing stock in the books of consignor. Consignor just sends goods to consignee. Ownership is of consignor only. So if there are any goods which remain unsold, it will be shown as closing stock in the books of consignor. The account sale is prepared by consignee. He sends it to the consignor giving details of cash sales, credit sales, expenses incurred, commission due to him, if there are any loss in transit, normal loss, abnormal loss, if any advance is given by consignee to consignor, if there are any closing stock, goods remain unsold, is given by a statement which is known as account sale. Now we'll see operating cycle of consignment, how it works. Goods are sent by consignor to consignee. Consignee may pay some advance or accept a bill of exchange. Consignee is getting goods from consignor. He is supposed to sell these goods. He is supposed to remit the amount whatever he receives from final customers. But as he is getting goods, sometimes consignor asks consignee to pay advance or he accept bill of exchange. Consignee will incur expenses for selling the goods. Consignee also incurs expenses, various types of expenses. Some of the expenses are recurring in nature, some of the expenses are non-recurring in nature. Consignee maintains records of all cash and credit sales. Consignee prepares a summary of result called account sales. Just now we have seen what is the meaning of account sales and what is he supposed to mention in the account sale, what it includes. Consignor pays commission to the consignee. Sometimes the consignor may send the goods at a price higher than cost so that the consignee gets no knowledge of real cost of goods which is confidential for the consignor. Accounting for consignment. Consignor and consignee keep their own books of accounts. The consignor may send goods to many consignees. Also, a consignee may act as agent for many consignors. It is appropriate that both of them would want to know profit or loss made on each consignment. When goods are dispatched on consignment, no entry can be made in sales account as this is not a sale and until the goods are sold, they remain the legal property of consignor. So until the sale, even if the goods are with consignee, the legal owner is consignor. For the same reason, the consignee's personal account cannot be debited with the value of goods consigned. He is not debtor until the goods are sold. There are certain new accounts that are to be opened in addition to regular accounts such as cash and bank account. So consignor and consignee both of them have own books of accounts. They are interested to know the profit. It is necessary for the consignor to prepare separate consignment account for each consignment as well as for consignee it is necessary for him to prepare separate account for each principal because he may act as agent for many consignors. The objective of consignor in making accounts relating to consignment is twofold. To ascertain the result means profit or loss of consignment and incorporate them in his profit and loss account. To make final settlement with consignee. Sometimes consignee pays advance. So what is the final settlement? What is the final amount to be received from consignee? That consignor is interested in knowing. And he is also interested in knowing what is the profit and loss made on each consignment. And for that, consignor prepare two accounts. These two accounts are consignment account and consignee's account. Consignor prepare two accounts, consignment account and consignee's account. Consignment account is nominal in nature. What is the rule of nominal account? Debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. As well as consignor is also prepare consignee account. Consignee account is personal account. So these two accounts he prepares, consignment account and consignee's account. A separate consignment account as well as consignee account is prepared in respect of every consignment. It is important to observe that the two accounts are prepared by consignor in addition to other accounts in his ledger to incorporate the result of consignment in his books. Consignor prepares two accounts, consignment account and consignee account. Sometimes in the examination, you might be asked to prepare goods sent on consignment account. So in that case, if you prepare goods sent on consignment account, it is to be closed by transferring it to purchases account or trading account. Now we'll see which account consignee prepares. As an agent, consignee is not liable to pay for the goods received on consignment. Therefore, he makes no entry in his financial books on such receipts. However, he is liable to account for the goods received. He keeps adequate stock record in an appropriate memorandum book. So he maintains book which shows stock, that is whatever he has received from consignor, whatever he has sold, if there is something lost in transit, lost in go down, normal loss, abnormal loss and closing stock in hand. So that record he has to prepare. His only concern is to record the expenses he has incurred, the sales, his commission and his financial relationship with consignor. A personal account for the consignor is the only additional account a consignee needs to record his consignment transaction. Consignee prepares only consignor's account. In the books of consignee, you are supposed to prepare only consignor's account, and in the books of consignor, you are supposed to prepare consignment account and consignee account, and sometimes goods sent on consignment account also. Now we'll see journal entries. On sending goods, that is when goods are sent by consignor to consignee, in the books of consignor, entry passed is consignment account debit to goods sent on consignment account. Consignee will not pass entry in his books. He has just received the goods. He is agent. He is not supposed to pay for these goods until he sells the goods. On expenses for sending the goods, if consignor has incurred expenses for sending the goods, he will pass entry consignment account debit to cash or bank or creditors for expenses. Creditors for expenses means if expenses are due but not paid. As the money has been spent by consignor, consignee will not pass any entry in his books. For advance received from consignee, if consignor has received advance, cash account debit, bank account debit, if consignee has accepted to pay the bill, then bills receivable account debit to consignee's personal account, and consignee will pass entry consignor's personal account to cash, bank or bills payable account. On expenses incurred by consignee, consignment account debit to consignee's account. This entry will be passed in consignor's book, and consignor's personal account to cash, bank, creditors for expenses. Consignee is incurring expenses. So in his book, he will be crediting cash, bank if he has not incurred expenses, if it is due, creditors for expenses, but he is going to recover it from consignor. So he will debit consignor's account. And if you see in consignor's book, this is the expenditure, even if incurred by consignee, it is expenditure for consignment. So consignment account is to be debited. Just now we have seen consignment account is nominal in nature, debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Even if this expenditure is incurred by consignor or consignee, it has to be debited to consignment account. If it is incurred by consignor, then consignment account debit to cash, bank or creditors for expenses. If it is incurred by consignee, then consignment account debit to consignee's personal account. Why? Because consignee has incurred it and consignor is supposed to reimburse it to consignee. So to consignee's personal account. Consignment to consignee. On consignee reporting sales. Now consignee has sold the goods. In this case, consignor will pass entry consignee's personal account to consignment account. Consignment account will be credited with sales. Sales is your income, debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. The consignment account is to be credited with sales. Consignee's personal account is to be debited. Now, what entry consignee will pass? Cash account debit, bank account debit, consignment debtors account debit to consignor's personal account. Consignment debtors. If it is credit sales, he will pass entry consignment debtors to consignor personal account. He is supposed to get this amount from his consignment debtors and it is due to consignor. That is the reason why consignment debtor to consignor's personal account. Now this is only cash sales, remember this. On consignee reporting sales, entry for cash sales in the books of consignor is consignee to consignment, and in the books of consignee it is cash, bank. If it is credit sales, of course in the books of consignee, consignment debtors to consignor's personal account. Now for credit sales entries we'll see afterwards when del creditor commission is given or if del creditor commission is not given. For the time being, this entry in the books of consignor, assume that this entry is only for cash sales and it is not for credit sales, because credit sales your entry will change if consignee gets del creditor commission or if he does not get del creditor commission. For commission due, for consignor's viewpoint, commission due to consignee is his expenditure, so he will debit consignment account. As it is due to consignee, he will credit consignee's account. Consignment to consignee, commission due. And consignee's book, consignor's personal account to commission. Once he gets the commission, he will pass entry cash or bank account debit to consignor's personal account. Commission, from his viewpoint, commission is income, debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains, nominal account. For closing consignment account, consignor will close, it will show either profit or loss, and this profit or loss will be transferred to general profit and loss account. As consignee doesn't prepare consignment account, no entry, he is not supposed to pass any entry. Final settlement, cash, bank, bills receivable account debit to consignee's account. Consignor account debit to cash, bank, bills payable. Consignee will prepare only consignor's account and he will close consignor's account by transferring it to either cash or bank, or if he has accepted to pay the bill, to bills payable account. For closing the goods sent on consignment account, sometimes consignor prepares goods sent on consignment account. It is to be closed by transferring it to either trading account or purchases account. Goods sent on consignment account debit to trading or purchases account. Consignee is not supposed to pass any entry in his books. Closing stock. Closing stock is always shown on the credit side of consignment account. Stock on consignment account debit to consignment account. no entry is to be passed in the books of consignee. Now we'll see journal entries when Del Creditor Commission is given. When Del Creditor Commission is given, in that case, responsibility of credit sales is supposed to be taken by consignee, and consignor will treat credit sales as cash sales. When Del Creditor Commission is given for credit sales, consignee's account to consignment account, he will consider credit sales as cash sales. Consignor will consider credit sales as cash sales and he will pass credit sales entry consignee's account to consignment account, and if there are bad debts, he is not supposed to pass any entry for bad debts. Consignor is not supposed to pass entry for bad debts if he is giving Del Creditor Commission to consignee. And Del Creditor Commission entry, normal entry, consignment account debit to consignee's personal account. When Del Creditor Commission is not given, then for credit sales, entry is consignment debtors account debit to consignment account. Consignment account is always to be credited by sales. Sales you are supposed to credit to consignment account. By sales, cash sales and credit sales. So if it is credit sales, consignment debtors, if Del Creditor Commission is not given, cash sales, consignee's personal account debit to consignment account. Now here, when Del Creditor Commission is not given for credit sales, consignment debtors to consignment, for cash sales, consignee's personal account to consignment, bad debts, consignment account debit to consignment debtors account. Realization of cash. If cash is received, if it is received by consignor, cash account debit to consignment debtor. If it is collected by consignee, consignee's personal account to consignment debtor. See, if the debtor is paying cash, he can pay it either to consignor or consignee. If he is paying to consignee, you are supposed to reduce debtor's balance. In order to reduce debtor's balance, you are supposed to credit debtor's account. In order to reduce debtors balance, you are supposed to credit debtors account. Cash account you will be debiting. Why? Because consignor has received it. But as consignee has received cash in this case, consignor is supposed to collect it from consignee. That's why consignee's account debit to consignment debtors account. These are entries to be passed in the books of consignor. Now we'll see entries in the books of consignee when Del Creditor Commission is given. For credit sales, consignment debtors account debit to consignor. Bad debts account debit to consignment debtors, because bad debts is consignee's loss, he is getting Del Creditor Commission. For realization of cash from debtors, cash or bank account debit to consignment debtors. Closing of bad debts, commission received to bad debts. So bad debts is closed by transferring it to commission account. When Del Creditor Commission is not given, there will be no entry against bad debts in the books of consignee. So if consignee is not getting Del Creditor Commission, he is not supposed to pass entry for bad debts. He is supposed to pass entry for bad debts if and only if Del Creditor Commission is given to him. Then bad debts will be consignee's loss and it is not consignor's loss. So entry for that will be bad debts to consignment debtors, and bad debt account will get closed by transferring it to commission account. Commission received to bad debts. Valuation of stock. Consignor sends goods to consignee. Some of the goods he sells, some will remain in stock. Now it is necessary to value this stock. This will be shown as closing stock in the books of consignor even if the goods are with consignee. Unsold goods on consignment should be properly valued. Otherwise, final accounts cannot be prepared. Unsold stock on consignment is valued at cost price. plus proportionate expenses of consignor plus proportionate non-recurring expenses of consignee. This is very important. Valuation of closing stock, cost price of the stock, proportionate expenses of consignor plus proportionate non-recurring expenses of consignee. Consignee incurs expenses. Some of them may be recurring in nature, some of them are non-recurring in nature. Non-recurring in nature are those expenses which consignee incurs for the lot of consignment which he receives. For example, insurance in transit, carriage, freight, etc. Or supposing if he is paying any duties, taxes for receiving those goods, those are non-recurring expenses which he incurs only one time, which are not repetitive in nature. But recurring expenses are, for example, warehouse charges, then insurance of goods in warehouse, rent. All these are recurring in nature. While valuing closing stock, consignees non-recurring expenses are to be taken into consideration, but consignors entire expenses you are supposed to add. But it must be remembered while valuing stock on consignment, the usual principle for valuation of stock, that is, stock should be valued at cost price or market price, whichever is less. So journal entry for this is stock on consignment account debit to consignment account. On the credit side of consignment account, you are supposed to write buy stock on consignment account. Needless to say that unsold stock on consignment will appear in the asset side of the balance sheet. Losses on consignment. There are two types of losses which may arise in case of consignment transaction. These losses are normal loss and abnormal loss. Normal losses arise as a result of natural causes. For example, evaporation, leakage, breakage, etc. They are unavoidable. You cannot avoid this. They are inherent in nature. Since normal loss is a charge against gross profit, no additional adjustment is required for this purpose. Moreover, as the same is a part of cost of goods, when valuation of unsold stock is made in case of consignment account, the quantity of such loss and not the amount should be deducted from the total quantity of goods received by the consignee in good condition. So, whenever you are valuing closing stock, you are supposed to consider the quantity of such loss and not the amount. It is not to be valued. Value of closing stock will be total value of goods sent multiplied by unsold stock quantity divided by good quantity received by consignee. So we'll just see one example. So this will be very clear to you. Illustration 11. From the following particulars, ascertain the value of unsold stock on consignment. Goods sent 1000 kgs 20,000. Consignor's expenses 4,000. Consignee's non-recurring expenses 3,000. Goods sold 800 kgs. Value is 40,000. Loss due to normal wastage is 100 kgs. Now, what is the quantity of goods sent? 1000 kgs. What is the quantity of goods sold? 800 kgs. Loss due to normal wastage is 100 kgs. 1000 minus 800 sold, 200 is remaining quantity, minus normal loss, natural wastage is 100. So 1000 minus 800 minus 100, that is 1000 minus 900, 100 kgs is closing stock. How to value closing stock? Just now we have seen for valuation of closing stock, what are you supposed to add? Cost of the goods plus proportionate expenses of consignor plus consignee's non-recurring proportionate expenses. Cost of goods is 20,000, consignor's expenses 4,000. Consignee is non-recurring expenses 3,000. 27,000. Now 27,000 is the cost we have calculated. Now you are supposed to find out closing stock valuation. Now normal wastage is 100 kgs. Now 27,000 divided by 900 into 100 will be the valuation of closing stock. Why? Because 900 kgs you are supposed to divide it by 900 and not by 1000. Why? Because consignee has received 1000 kgs minus 100 kgs, 900 kgs. So 27,000 divided by 900 multiplied by 100, 3000 is valuation of closing stock. Second type of loss is abnormal loss. Abnormal loss arises as a result of negligence, accident, etc. For example, theft, fire. Before ascertaining the result of consignment, value of abnormal loss should be adjusted. The method of calculation is similar to method of calculating unsold stock. So for calculation of value of abnormal loss, same method you have to use which we are using for calculation of unsold stock. That is nothing but cost of the goods sold plus consignor's proportionate expenses. Supposing before receiving the goods by consignee, if some of the goods have lost by fire, then consignee's expenses you need not add. But if consignee has received the goods, he has incurred some expenses. Some of them are non-recurring expenses, then proportionate expenses of consignee also you are supposed to add. But before receiving the goods, if they are lost by fire or if there is any abnormal loss, then in that case consignee's expenses you need not add. Sometimes insurance company admits the claim in part or in full. The same should also be adjusted against such abnormal loss. Treatment of abnormal loss. For abnormal loss account debit to consignment account. Consignment account on the credit side will write it as by abnormal loss. How the valuation is to be done? It is just like unsold stock. For insurance claim due or received by the consignor, if it is received, bank account debit to abnormal loss. If it is due, insurance company account debit to abnormal loss. If goods are not insured, profit and loss account debit to abnormal loss. For transferring, the net loss, profit and loss account debit to abnormal loss. So if entire value of abnormal loss is to be credited to consignment account credit side will write by abnormal loss. Abnormal loss account debit side you will write to consignment account. If some money has been received or has been accepted, it is to be credited as by bank or by insurance company, and the difference will be transferred to profit and loss account. If it is not insured, entire amount of abnormal loss will get transferred to profit and loss account. Now this is a pro forma, or you can call it as specimen consignment account. In the books of consignor consignment account, first we'll see debit side. Two goods sent on consignment account either at cost price or invoice price. When consignor sends goods to consignee, entry passed by consignor consignment account debit to goods sent on consignment account. When consignor incurs expenses, consignment account debit to bank. Expenses incurred by consignor. When consignee incurs expenses, consignment account debit to consignee's account. Commission due to consignee, consignment account debit to consignee's account. Consignment account debit to consignee's account. Expenses incurred by consignee or commission due to him. This commission is of three types: normal commission or ordinary commission, overriding commission, and del creditor commission. To consignment debtors bad debts if del creditor commission is not paid. If del creditor commission is not paid, then bad debts is loss of consignor. He will record it in his books. But if del creditor commission is paid, then in that case consignor will not record bad debts. It is loss of consignee. When del creditor commission is given, consignor will consider credit sales as cash sales. to stock reserve to abnormal loss. When consignor sends goods to consignee at invoice price, you are supposed to remove loading, and this loading from closing stock is removed by passing this journal entry to stock reserve. This is nothing but loading on closing stock to abnormal loss. This is nothing but loading on abnormal loss. To profit and loss account, profit on consignment. Now we'll see credit side. Buy goods sent on consignment account, loading. If consignor sends goods to consignee at invoice price, that is above cost price, the difference between invoice price and cost price is known as loading, and it is to be recorded by passing opposite entry. So buy goods sent on consignment account, this is loading, nothing but profit part of goods sent on consignment if and only if goods are sent on invoice price. Goods are sent at invoice price. If it is sent at cost, then this entry will not come. Buy consignee, sale. Buy consignment debtors, credit sales. If consignee makes cash sales, entry will be consignee's account debit to consignment account. Credit sales entry is consignment debtors account debit to consignment account. But if consignor gives del creditor commission, then credit sales also will be considered as cash sales by consignor, and he will pass the same entry consignee's account debit to consignment account. Goods loss in transit, this is abnormal loss at cost and at invoice price. If it is at invoice price, you are supposed to take out the loading part, profit part, and transfer it to debit side of consignment account. Unsold stock, closing stock at cost or at invoice price. If it is at invoice price, remove the loading, find out the profit part, and it is to be debited. Is it clear? So this is stock reserve is loading of closing stock. Abnormal loss loading is loading on goods. Opposite side you are supposed to write. Lost in transit, if it is at invoice price, loading is to be returned to debit side. Closing stock, if it is at invoice price, loading is to be debited. Goods sent, if it is at invoice price, loading is to be credited. Thank you.